Okay, students, we are at Heritage Hill State Park in De Pere, Wisconsin, and today we're going to be viewing what it was like to live in this area in 1836. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to walk down the hill here to what was the Fort Hospital. So I'm going to take you to the hospital. Everybody feeling okay? As we walk down the hill, please take note of the river that you see in the distance, because in social studies we're going to talk about the river highway that the explorers used to explore Wisconsin. They could get all the way from Europe to across Wisconsin to the Mississippi by water, except in one spot they had to pick up their canoe. And I taught some of you what was the word we used for picking up your canoe and carrying it? Portage. Portage, near the city of Portage in Wisconsin now. Okay, let's have our best behavior, and remember we're going back to the year 1836.
The correct response and the respectful response is good morning, First Sargent. That is my name. That is what I am to be called at all times. You will not disrespect me. So let's try that again. Good morning.
Good morning, Sergeant.
As we go through the day today, I'm your boss. I tell you what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. You just say yes, First Sergeant, and move on. Here at Fort Howard, you will be seeing the school. We are here in the orderly room. You will also be seeing the officers' quarters. And because your group is going to be a little short, if we have time, we'll show you the hospital on your way out today. So we will be talking to you about what life was like at Fort Howard. The year is 1836. So you will need to remember that. The year is 1836. As a First Sergeant, I am your boss. I tell you what to do. I also am in charge of your discipline. And I answer to the officers who are college-educated gentlemen that are my bosses. I am not an officer, so I am not called sir. That is actually disrespectful. My uniform is my winter uniform. It's made out of wool. Part of it is the badge of honor that I carry, and that's the sword. This is a real sword. It's called a field artillery sword. It weighs about 12 pounds. Now I have this sword because it's my badge of honor. It's like a merit badge if you're in Boy Scouts. You have to do certain tasks to get your merit badge. I have to do certain tasks as well. I have to be a specific age, or at least as close to it as I can get. And I also have to be in the Army a certain amount of time. I've been in the Army about 15 years, which is about the length of time that it would take to become a First Sargent. I am paid $25 a month in 1836. You folks that are privates, you guys are paid $5 a month in 1836. Now that's quite a bit of money in 1836. But you don't really spend hardly any of that because all of the stuff that you get is free. You get free clothes. I have to buy all of my uniforms, and I have 3 that I have to buy. You folks get free food. It's all oatmeal. You eat oatmeal every meal of every day. And that's because it's cheap. The Army is fairly cheap in the 1830s. You guys get a free place to sleep. It's called a barracks. In your bed, you sleep with 5 other people. You have to share your bed. Now, who is the only person sleeping in the barracks that you think does not have to share?
You.
That's right, the First Sargent. Because First Sargent doesn't share. Now remember, if you guys have something to say, I would like to see a hand in the air. Okay? Now, there are 3 jobs, 3 specific jobs that I would assign here at Fort Howard. One of those jobs would be police duty. Police duty is probably the most important job here at Fort Howard, besides me. Who wants to be on police duty? What's your name?
Joe.
So we're going to give Joe a frock coat. Looks like that. Slide it on for me, please. We're also going to give Joe a weapon, because as a soldier he does need a weapon. So we're going to give him his weapon right here. Now the next important job is construction. It's going to be a person that's going to help build the military road, which is the road that ran between Green Bay and the Mississippi River. So who thinks they can handle construction? What's your name?
Bryson.
What?
Bryson.
Bryson. Okay. Now Bryson is going to get a fatigue coat. Slide that on for me, please. And Bryson is also going to get a leather neck stock. Now, Joe is a sergeant, 1 step below me. Bryson is a corporal, 2 steps below me, 1 step below Joe. So Bryson actually has to salute both Joe and myself. And then Bryson's also going to get a leather neck stock that looks like this, which gets pulled tight behind him just like that. Is that comfortable?
No.
No, look down once. Is that comfortable?
No.
No. Now this has to be so tight around his neck because it's going to save himself from getting stabbed in the neck with a sword or a bayonet. It's also possibly going to stop a musket ball. And this is what our musket balls look like, which is kind of like a bullet. Now we don't know for sure if this is going to stop this or not. It's possible, but we're not completely sure. So he also gets this backpack right up here. Now I don't have the backpack down on the table because I actually have it packed the way it would have been packed in 1836. This backpack right now weighs 75 pounds. And Bryson's going to walk 12 miles every day. And he's going to be digging ditches, draining swamps, and cutting down trees. That's his job working construction. Did you handle that? Oh, good. All right. Now the last job is going to be guard duty. Probably the most responsible job here at Fort Howard. Who thinks they can do guard duty? Okay. What's your name?
Joe.
What?
Joe.
We have another Joe? I know up here. All right. Bryson, can you hold on this for me, please? All right. Joe is going to be on guard duty here at the fort. He's going to get a cartridge box. Inside the cartridge box are 16 packs of gunpowder and 16 lead musket balls. Bryson, why don't you scoot over just a little bit? Good. All right. So this goes over his shoulder right here, so stick your arm through here, goes over your head, like that. All right. He's also going to get a bayonet, which is a knife that he puts on the end of his gun and he stabs people with it.
Oh.
Sounds pretty cool, Joe? He's like, yeah, sweet! This goes over your other shoulder. Like that. Now, does Joe have everything he needs to be on guard duty, or is our guard missing something? Yes?
Is he missing a gun?
Yeah, he doesn't have his gun. Now, Joe, before I give you my gun, I have had this group from Sevastopol the last 3 years that I've worked here, and I know both of these teachers right there, and they're very nice people. But if anything happens while you hold my gun, see that gentleman right there? Yeah, he's going to buy me a new gun.
Oh.
2 hands, sir. All right, put your feet together. Got it? Because I'm going to let go. Joe's got to hold his gun like this and stand just like this for 24 hours. He cannot go to sleep. He has to stay awake all day and all night. He gets 2 hours off. Every 2 hours he gets 2 hours off where he can get something to eat, he can play cards, he can talk to people, but he cannot fall asleep. Could you handle that, Joe? Could you stay awake all day and all night?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, why don't you put the gun down? Okay. Hang on to it, don't drop it. Now, Joe, at school, is your desk messy or is it clean?
Messy.
I'm asking that one over there, okay? All right, it's messy. Yeah? Well, then you're perfect for your job, Joe. Because police duty at Fort Howard means you are the garbage man for the fort. You are in charge, you get 1 shovel and 1 bucket, and you have to clean the entire fort, including the latrines. Any of you guys know what a latrine is?
No.
Alright. Do any of you know what an outhouse is?
Oh, I don't.
Bryson?
Porta potty?
Yeah, an outhouse is like a porta potty, exactly. Yeah? And he has to clean that, and they have to be spotless when I come to inspect them. And if they're not spotless, am I going to be happy about that?
No.
Am I going to have to discipline him?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I would absolutely do that. Now, let's say that our other Joe here decides he's going to fall asleep on guard duty. Is that going to make me happy?
No.
Am I going to have to discipline him?
Yes.
Absolutely. What I would do is I would wake up I'm in charge of 200 soldiers. I'm in charge of a company. So I would wake up my company, because Joe's in it, and I get all 200 soldiers outside on the parade ground, so there's our grassy field outside. I would also wake up the officers so they could come and watch. And I would make an announcement. Now, Joe is a private. All right, what's your last name, Joe?
Thornton.
What?
Thornton.
Thornton. I would say Private Thornton has been an incredibly bad soldier. He fell asleep at his guard post, and he was drooling. Didn't look very pretty at all, I will tell you that right now. So, according to the rules of the United States Army, I am going to administer corporal punishment. So I would take the corporal stick, and I would either hit Joe behind the head, as many times as I want to and as hard as I want to, or I'd hit him behind the leg as many times as I want and as hard as I want. Now, am I going to hit him so hard behind the head that I knock him out? No. Am I going to hit him behind the leg so hard that I break his leg? Why not? Good, I like seeing the hands. Good job. Yes?
Because then he couldn't work guard duty anymore.
Exactly. If I knock him out, he's in the hospital with a headache. And for headaches, we had to drill a hole in his head to cure him. So that's really not going to help. If I break his leg, he's out of the Army completely, because we don't have the technology in 1836 to cure a broken leg well enough for Joe to walk normal again. Basically, all we do in the Army in the 1830s with a broken leg is we cut the leg off. So I don't want a one-legged soldier. It's just not going to help. It's not going to help at all. So why do I take Joe in front of 200 people and beat him with a stick? Because I like it? Well, maybe. Maybe. Yes, sir.
Me?
Yes.
Because that's his punishment?
Well, yeah, but there's a reason why I do it. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different punishments I could do, but I chose this one specifically. Yes.
So he can learn?
Yeah, I'm teaching him a lesson. And I'm also teaching all of you guys a lesson to not disobey me ever. You gonna disobey me, Joe? Yeah, Excellent, good job. Round of applause for these three people. They did a very good job. Okay, Joe number 1, your shovel can go behind the door, and your jacket goes on number 2. Bryson, you can put your stuff on the table. Joe, I'll take the musket, and I'll take the stuff that you have on one at a time, please. So just take it off, one at a time. And then you guys can go back and sit down. Good job. Any questions at this point? Thank you, Joe. Good job. Yes, sir.
How many times or have you beat someone with the stick before?
Pardon?
Have you or how many times have you beat someone with the stick before?
Well, I haven't, to tell you the truth. Because I'm not really a first sergeant, I just play one here at Heritage Hill. I used to be a middle school teacher, so I sometimes maybe wanted to have that stick with me, but no, I'm actually just one of the reenactors here at Heritage Hill. So I'm not a real first sergeant. Yes. Bryson.
How much does that gun weigh?
Well, the gun weighs about 12 pounds. Probably felt a little bit heavier though. Remember, you're going to hold it for 2 hours. Now the muskets that you folks are going to be getting when we go outside and march are made out of wood. They're fake. This is a real musket. This gun really does shoot. Right? But there's a couple of specific safety precautions that I expect you guys to follow when we're outside. Whether your gun is real or not, you never point a gun at anything you do not intend to kill. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, sir.
The correct response, yes, First Sergeant. Say it.
Yes, First Sergeant.
Very good. When you are outside, your muskets are pointed at the sky or at the ground, never at anyone or anything, and you are not making gun sounds. Am I clear on that, gentlemen?
Yes, Sergeant.
Very good. Now, what I'm going to do is show you guys how to load and fire the musket. This is a, what is called a muzzle loader, which basically means I load it through the top end of the gun. But it is a flintlock. So, first part that I have to show you is this pan right here. Can everybody see that? Yes. Okay, that's where we put a little bit of gunpowder. Okay, that's just called, for lack of a better word, the flash pan or the pan. This is called a strike plate. This is a hammer. This is rock. Here's a piece of flint. Now, what happens when flint hits a piece of metal? Joe?
It makes sparks.
It makes sparks. Very good. So to load the gun, what I do is the first thing I have to get this package open, so I tear it open with my teeth, like that. Being careful not to swallow any gunpowder. I pour a little bit of powder in the pan, and I close this. This is called the strike plate, as I said. Then I come down here, pour a little bit of powder down the barrel, drop the paper down inside to act as a wadding. Plus, I really have no other place to go with it. Then I take my musket ball and drop my musket ball down the barrel. And I pull this out. What's this for? Yes?
To put the ball in the barrel.
Right, this is called a rammer. And the process that I'm doing is called packing. So I take this and I drop it down the barrel. I make two taps. Now everything is packed down here at the bottom of the gun. Do I want to leave the rammer in the gun?
No.
No. If I did, it would shoot out the end and this would get bent. And if this is bent, I cannot use it. The only way to straighten it is go to a blacksmith and have him heat it up and straighten it. I don't have a blacksmith on the battlefield in 1836. Actually, ever, really. So, I want to be very careful with this, because if this is bent, can I use the gun?
No.
No. That's pretty much a bad thing, so I want to put it back where I found it. Drop it down the barrel, like that. Now the gun is ready to shoot. When I pull the trigger, the hammer comes forward, it hits the strike plate, which causes a spark, causes the powder that we put in the barrel, in the pan to explode, goes into the barrel, causes the powder in the barrel to explode, shoots everything out the end of the gun. Now I'm going to pull the trigger. I want you guys to look right about here, and if you see a spark, raise your hand. Remember, I did not put any gunpowder in the gun, so it will not make a sound. Okay? Hopefully I adjusted it this morning, so. Should have been a little bit of a spark. We'll try it again. This flint's getting a little old, and sometimes when the flint gets old, it starts to get too chipped, and it won't spark. Very good. Now remember, on the battlefield, that's what you'd have to do. This gun was very unreliable. In the 1830s, once every 3 times that you pulled the trigger, the gun actually went off. That's not very good odds, guys, when you're shooting. Plus, this gun will shoot 75 yards. 75 yards is that road is from here to the road that you guys walked down to come here today. That's 75 yards. If I had Joe go stand out on that road, I loaded the gun and I fired a shot at him, the musket ball would actually bounce about 6 inches in front of his feet. Why is that? The manufacturer says the gun will shoot 75 yards. There's a scientific reason why Joe is perfectly safe at 75 yards. Bryson.
Because,
I'll give you a hint. There's a force that's acting on this ball. Yes?
it didn't have enough force.
No. It's the same force that's keeping us from floating up into the air.
Gravity.
Gravity. What's gravity doing to the musket ball as it flies through the air? Yes?
It makes it go down and so it won't touch Joe.
That's right. It's pulling it down. Now, if Joe was standing at 50 yards, which is the maple tree out on our parade ground, 50 yards, I'm going to hit Joe in the chest or the shoulder or the leg or something like that. I'm still not going to injure him. I'm going to injure him, but I'm not going to kill him. At 30 yards, which is the flagpole from where you folks are sitting, 30 yards, he's dead. So when you fought your battles in the 1830s, your enemies were 30 yards away from you. Because that's how far, that's the effective range of the gun. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Would you like to go outside and march?
Yes, First Sargent.
Gentlemen, you join your feet, please.
Follow the directions. I want a straight line facing the road, right here, facing this way. Going down the hill, facing the road.
When you go inside the building, I'm going inside also, and I shall pretend to be your teacher. I'll expect you to pretend that you are living then, and you are going to do some lessons that research tells us probably were done at that time, 1836. Of course, none of us can remember. We weren't there at that time. But we follow what research has told us, what we've learned from research. Since I'm your teacher, I'll expect to hear you say, "Yes, ma'am," when I give you a direction to one of you or ask one of you a response. Going inside, the girls would go first, but the ladies will go first. You will follow, the boys will follow the ladies indoors. Now boys, when you go inside, the first 4 of you are going in first. You'll go to the first row, this end, closer to the door or this wall. Sit behind a slate. Then the next group of 4 boys go to the second row, this end. Be sure to sit on this end. That is the boys' side. You never, ever want to sit on the girls' side. That would be a punishment. Are these directions clearly understood?
Yes, ma'am.
You may
No, excuse me. Now I am removing my outdoor hat. I expect you to remove yours. I keep my day cap on indoors all day. I'd like to see you sit tall. Hands off the desk to yourself. We are here to learn. We learn by thinking with our brain, by listening with ears, and speaking by blabbing. When we blab, we do 2 things. Speak distinctly, like I do. That is called recitation. Say that now. Recitation. The second step is sometimes you repeat or say something again. That is repetition. Blab that now. Repetition. When you do those 2 steps, you are a fine blabbermouth. Now you are expected to blab our Bible verse. I'd like you to start with, "Thou shalt honor thy." Blab the Bible verse. Thou shalt honor thy father and thy mother, that it may be well with thee, and thou wilt live long on earth. I'd like you to blab this again. Listen. Thou wilt live long on earth. Again. Thou wilt live long on earth. That is correct. Now, for our first lesson this morning, we are reading in a very special book, dear to my heart, because Grandmama passed pass this book on to us. Sometimes we read from a McGuffey reader also. And since we have all ages here, why, Emmett, that's your younger sister, 5 years old, isn't it? Say yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, she just started. So we will delight in giving her this book to use here at school. This wonderful McGuffey reader for our 5-year-olds, like Emmett's little sister. That's very special. I hope you take good care of her. Say yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
The story we are reading today is The Shepherd Boy. In our story, the boy learns a highly harsh lesson. After we are through reading, I would like you to tell me what that lesson is. Also, I would like you to tell me how you can learn something right here at Fort Howard School, what you can learn from this story. It is called The Shepherd Boy. Now, when it is your turn to read, you will stand between your bench and the desk. Read one sentence, then pass the book on to the next person to read the next sentence. Who would like to begin with the first sentence? Henry. Say yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Stand.
ma'am. There was
Stand. You may hold the book, Henry.
There was once a young shepherd boy who tended his sheep at the foot of a mountain near a dark forest.
It was rather lonely for him all day, so he thought upon a plan by which he could get a little company and some excitement.
He rushed down toward the village, calling out, "Wolf, wolf!" And the startled villagers came out to meet him.
Emmett, show William where you stop and he should start.
Stop here and you should go here.
This pleased the shepherd boy so much that he tried the same trick again some days later. And again the villagers came to rescue, only to find that he had again been fooled.
Show William.
They returned to the village, and shortly afterward a wolf truly did come out of the forest and began to worry the sheep. The boy cried out, "Wolf, wolf," louder and louder.
But this time, the villagers who had fooled twice thought the boy was again deceiving them, and nobody stirred to come help.
So the wolf made a good meal off the boy's flock.
When the boy complained, the wise man at the village said, "A liar will not be believed even when he speaks the truth."
Bring the book up, please. Come a little bit earlier tomorrow. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Come a little bit earlier and help me with the fire because we don't want it to go out, especially as it gets cold enough.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. The boy in our story learned a harsh lesson. Tell me, what is that lesson that the boy learned? Yes,
Not to lie.
stand, please, Joshua.
Not to lie.
You are correct. something right here at Fort Howard. Yes, way back there, Wallace.
Well, it teaches us to not lie.
You are correct. Good answer. Thank you. Say yes, ma'am. Now, for our spelling words today, the first word is shepherd. It has 2 syllables. The first syllable, shep. Blab that.
Shep.
The second syllable, herd. Blab that.
Herd.
Now that is not the herd that you listened with your ears. You heard something. But that is spelled the way it's spelled to mean a group of animals, a herd. Shep, herd. Blab that.
Shepherd.
When you write it on your slate, I would like you to write it in your best printing or manuscript. Write it now. His little sister made her friend. You don't have any little sisters or little brothers. But printing is what we need when we were younger. Do you remember that? Just wipe this off and then print it. That's so far. You're getting it now. Think. Shep. Then herd. Shep. You have to correct Theodore. Okay, you listen to that. Sort of like hard, yes. What's his name? Hard. Yes. That's how herd, the syllable herd begins. Shep, herd. Do you know what letter you need? Yes. And think of the vowel that goes together with the consonant. Shep. You need another letter there. A letter from happy, the beginning of happy, Harold, hard. Do you know what that is?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is that?
H.
Correct. Add it right in here. Shepherd. You don't need the A, however. Correct, except we're printing. Next time, write it in a larger size. You have it correct. Who would like to spell this out loud for us? Theodore.
Shepherd.
Say the word, please.
Shepherd.
Correct. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Next word. Blab. Forest. Forest. Again. Forest. Write it on your slate in your best printing. This is good. You're good printing. What's this? Okay, what is this letter? There's a different vowel instead of the I. It's a vowel. Eh. Sometimes that might have the same sound as the I, but I hear it in elephant, E. Forest, you have it correct. Correct. And then we're going to read it bigger, aren't you? just write it again a little bit taller. Correct. Who would like to spell it out loud for us? Very good, Sarah. Yes, would you do that, please? Matthew.
Forest. Forrest.
Okay, you're barking up the wrong tree now. You don't need 2 R's. Just delete, subtract 1 R.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
spell it again.
Forest.
And the word is?
Forest.
You have it correct the second time. Thank you. Just wipe out that other R. The next word, village. Lab that.
Village.
Write it on your slate in your best printing. Different vowel. The vowel from illness. Was it your uncle Henry who was ill and had to go to the hospital? Ill. Do you know what makes that sound? Yes. I. And there's 2 of these. And then this is the word age. Say age. You can almost hear that vowel. Age. Right? You know what vowel would be? Yes, you have it correct then. Village, correct. This second letter is not the E, it's a different one. Like his, yes, and then you need 2 of these and the word age. Say age. Right. This is going to be a different letter. Correct. And then 2 of these, and then the word age. Say age. Correct. Village, you have it correct. 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 Nice writing. You're welcome. Correct. Yes, correct. Who would like to spell village out loud for us? Henry. Stan. Stan, say the word first.
Village. V-I-L-L-I-G-E.
No, that's the wrong tree to bark at. But age, what letter would that be? Age, I can almost hear it.
A.
Right, just spell it with an A instead of that second I.
V-I-L-L-A-G-E.
Correct, yes. And the word is?
Village.
Correct. Just change it with your wife. And then Eliza, when we leave today at 4 o'clock, since we're in school 9 o'clock through 4 o'clock, Monday through Friday, Saturday just a half day, 9 o'clock through 1 o'clock. But when we leave today at 4, be sure to shake these out and clean them. Thank you. The next word, flock. Lab that. Flock. Write it on your slate. There's something else that goes with the plate. Often it goes together. it's a consonant. Yes, CK. Correct. 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 Yes, ma'am. Correct. Who would like to spell this out loud for us? Let's see. You didn't spell it.
F-R-O-C-K.
And say the word again. Correct. Check your slate. Wipe your slate clean. Then sitting up tall and erect. We'd like to see how tall you sit, how well you listen. When you are eating your lunch, your lard bread, since Henry is doing the chores this week, and next week it will be Caleb, and Emmett, and William, and each one gets a turn, just as the girls take their turns on doing the girls' chores. Henry, back to Henry. After you eat your lard bread, Henry will pass the dipper around that all of us get to drink from this dipper. You'll get a drink of water. Then when you leave today at 4, check if our bucket is full. You know where the well is, so just fill it if it needs filling.
Yes, ma'am.
As we begin our afternoon lessons, we are starting with American history, studying our fine presidents. One of my favorites is the first president. Blab his name. George Washington. Correct. Blab the next president's name.
John Adams. Thomas Jefferson. James Madison. James Monroe. John Quincy Adams. Andrew Jackson.
Correct. The one we have today, Andrew Jackson. How many presidents in all from our first to the current president? Frederick.
7.
Stand, please.
7.
Correct. Thank you. We shall have our first problem in our arithmetic lessons about the first president. We want to know how old he was when he died. Blab the year that George Washington died.
1799.
Blab the year that George Washington was born.
1732.
Write it down and figure out his age. Joshua.
67 years old.
Correct. Thank you. For the next one, we know that the Declaration of Independence took several years for our fine leaders to plan. They put a great amount of planning and forethought into writing that declaration. But it was in this year, we want to find out how long ago this was when the Declaration was signed. Blab our year.
1836.
Blab the year that it was signed.
1776.
Now, I see a problem. I hope one of you can explain how to overcome this problem. How do you take a larger amount from a lesser amount? How do you do that? What do you think, Harold? Stan, Harold?
Carry, borrow that. Borrow from the hundredth place.
Okay, and that happens to be what number? Tell us.
700. 800.
Right. When you borrow from the 8, what will it become?
7.
Right, that is correct. Then, what do you do next? What do you do for this 3? Because the 3 is still small.
Then you make that a 13.
You are correct. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Write it down and do all those steps. Figuring it out? Did you do what he said to do? What do you make this 3? Correct. Then 13 minus 7. No. 2 less than 8. What do we got? 6. Right. The 6 goes here. Yes. Correct. Correct. Who would like to tell us how long ago was our document signed? Yes, Kayla.
60 years ago.
Correct, 60 years ago. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Check your slate. Wipe your slate clean. Straight on your desk and sit tall. Remember, straight spines make alert minds. Just turn your eyes toward our map for geography. Now, this summer, our country got a new state. While you were released from lessons, we got the 25th state, where it is printed, Arkansas Territory. Those leaders were very busy. They made that the 25th state. Arkansas became the 25th state. How many do we have now? How many states? What do you think? Yes.
25.
Yes. Both of you were ready to say that. Correct. Up here, something else happened where we live. We got a new name. We are now called Wisconsin. Wisconsin Territory. Excuse me, Wisconsin Territory. Blab our new name.
Wisconsin Territory.
That is correct. Now, I shall see you promptly tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Be alert. The bell rings us out of that time period, 1836, to today. I want to thank you for being fine gentlemen, fine young men. Now, we'll have a few minutes for questions before we go on to the next one.
I know what Germans.
Now, when there's a girl, the girl has to balance the chalk on the wall. We're not going to ask him to balance this with his nose on the wall. But just step back a little and then face your class. Stretch your arms straight out. That's nice and straight. And I'd be timing it 10, possibly 15 minutes he'd have to hold it. If he had been really disrespectful, then I'd get some other logs. And don't bend. You're not supposed to bend. See, it's easier when you bend it, isn't it? How would he feel trying to keep his arms straight without dropping the log? How would he? What do you think? Yes.
It would be really heavy and hard to do for 15 minutes.
Right, for that length of time, yes. What do you think?
You feel very stiff.
Yes, good word. Mm-hmm. Thank you, and that's nice and straight.
In the officers' quarters. So this is where the officers lived. They were college graduates from West Point Military Academy in New York State. And they probably married ladies from Boston, Philadelphia, Richmond. If you were an officer's child, you might arrive here with your mother and father. And it would be such a different place. It would be the wilderness with tall grasses and tall trees and lots of wild animals. And in 1836, there are no cars, no trucks, no paved roads. Now actually, you'd be sailing through the St. Lawrence and through the Great Lakes and arrive in Green Bay. And it would take about 3 to 4 months to get here. Now, you wouldn't forget your good manners, but what are good manners in 1836 as well as today? Yes.
Taking off your hat and not wearing your boots.
That's right. So hats off. Well, we'll wait till you get into court. How's that? What else?
And like the person now.
Oh, right, in the school. Saying please and thank you. Raising your hand if you have a question or an answer.
The southern United States. And you have been to nice schools, but your mother decided that it would be good for your education for you to come to the wilderness. And this is the wilderness. It's nothing but tall trees and grass. You got here sailing 4 months on a ship the size of the Dauntless or the Interceptor that would have traveled up the eastern coast over the top of the state of Maine, through the St. Lawrence River, through all of the Great Lakes under Canada, here to the Bay of Green Bay, the Wisconsin Territory. And the Wisconsin Territory in 1836 includes Minnesota and Iowa. Yep. And you are out here. It took 4 months, like I said, to get here. If the government had wanted to spend the money, they could have put you on a steamship, and that would have only taken 2 months, but the government's not going to spring for that kind of money, no. So did you get seasick traveling on the Great Lakes and those storms and all that stuff? Ugh, I don't like that. I don't like that. Okay, you get here and your dad says, we've got to go see your grandpa the general down at Fort Dearborn. And Fort Dearborn is all the way down here at the bottom of Lake Michigan. Okay, have you been to Fort Dearborn? How about Chickagoo? The town that grew up outside their stockade. Our stockade here at Fort Howard is 30 feet tall. I don't know how tall the stockade is down at Fort Dearborn. But there's a little town that's growing up, settlers, around Fort Dearborn's fort. No? Never been there? Who's been to Chicago, Illinois? Great America? Then you've been to Fort Dearborn or Chicago. Because that's how Chicago got started. And white people will take the Indian word Chicago, which means the place of the big stink. The water was really bad there and it smelled really bad, like sulfur, like bad eggs. And white people would say Chicago, Chicago, Chicago. And that's how the word Chicago evolves out of Indian into what we call American. All right? It's going to take you 4 weeks to get from here down to the bottom of Lake Michigan. There are 3 ways you can travel. We talked about sailing ship, we talked about steamship. There still are Voyager caravans where fur traders will take furs or trade goods on canoes that are made of birch bark that are 70 to 100 feet long, 15 feet wide. They each carry 3 to 4 tons of furs or trade goods. It takes 6 people to row and steer it, and if you sit on the bottom of it, you can't see over the side. That's how big the canoes are that go out on the Great Lakes. But we're not going to do that. So give me the other 2 ways besides water that we can travel in the wilderness where there are no roads. How many roads are there? None. All right, how can we travel then? Sir?
By horse.
By horse. Your dad is an officer. He has a horse. He's educated. The government is confident that he's going to make a difference in our nation, and they give the officers horses. Privates and corporals don't get horses. They're a bunch of drunken bums. They don't have any future because they aren't going to school. They aren't learning anything. They have no goals in life. Your dad is an officer, and you are in school, and you will have a future. So your dad's got a horse. How did the horse get here?
By traveling.
By traveling how?
Walking.
No.
By water.
By water. The cannons come on the ships, the cannonballs, the axes to make the fort. Everything comes by ship through the Great Lakes.
Sizes, and I keep my dry goods in here. And dry goods are things like flour and salt and cornmeal. Now what's missing from this cup that we use in our measuring cups today?
Sugar.
Well, not the ingredient. I'm thinking about what do you use to tell you if it's a quarter cup or a half a cup?
The numbers.
The numbers and the lines. And they didn't have measuring cups back then. They would just use their teacup or a cup and judge. I'd like for you to dig in here and give me half a cup of flour and then put it in the bowl, please. Now this firkin is going to keep something from getting at my dry goods. Yeah, that goes right in there.
Mice.
The mice and?
And rats and squirrels.
Well, besides the little animals, there's the bugs. What's missing from the window that we usually have in our houses in 2006 that they hadn't thought of yet?
Screens.
The screens. You can have a cup of cornmeal. What are they using? A little bit more. What are they using from the corn? Are they using the whole cob and everything, or?
They're taking dried up little pieces of it and then smashing it.
Right, the kernels. That's right. Has anyone ever heard of pearl ash before? And do you know what it is?
Sure. I forgot what it was, but I know what it is.
Well, pearl ash is, they collect the ashes from the fireplace about a year. They put rainwater over it it dries out, and then they can use that to put in their cakes and their cookies to make it rise, but we use something else. We call it by something else too.
That we use right now.
Yes, that we put in cakes and cookies to make it rise.
We use baking soda.
Baking soda or baking powder. And there is a little lip along here. If you tip the container and rub it along here, you get a teaspoon, and I like a teaspoon baking soda in my bowl, please. Yeah, and it goes right in there. What's the next ingredient?
Sugar?
Sugar. Well, it's not sugar because in 1836, this is what sugar looks like. It's a cone or a loaf sugar. And it is like brown sugar, raw sugar. And these are nippers that cut off lumps and you grind it up. And sugar is a treat. So you don't have cakes and cookies every day. You don't put sugar in your tea every day. And if we put sugar in our corn cakes, they go moldy faster. So we want them to last. We would put salt. Salt to preserve. And I'd like half a teaspoon, please. Maybe just a little bit less. Just shake a little less. That will go in there. Great. Thanks. Can you mix this up for me so that it's evenly mixed together? I could have done.
Madden. I'm here with the 4th grade of Sevastopol School at Heritage Hill State Park. Kathy Marshall, the other 4th grade teacher at Sevastopol, and I have brought students here for probably dozens of years already. We come to Heritage Hill State Park because in 4th grade we study Wisconsin history. Heritage Hill State Park depicts Fort Howard as it was in 1836. Fort Howard was the center of activity of this area, other than the Native Americans. And it was very important because it was the beginning of the water highway that went across Wisconsin. It went from Green Bay to Prairie du Chien, following the Fox River to Lake Winnebago, and then the lower Fox to Portage, where they carried the canoes and then picked up the Wisconsin River and took it to the Mississippi. Fort Howard is very historic in our Wisconsin history. It was a French fort before it was an English fort, Fort La Brea. I like bringing the students here early in the year because we talk about this the rest of the year. And at Fort Howard, they get to experience life as a child in Fort Howard. They get to make corn cakes, which they'll be doing in just a little while in the kitchen here. They get to attend a school as the children did in 1836. And they also get to experience what it might have been like to be a soldier here at Fort Howard. Right now we're standing in 2nd Lieutenant Marcy's Piler, and this is in the officers' quarter. This is one of the buildings the students get to see.
That's what they are. Have you ever had cornbread before? Yeah, I have. It's a little bit like cornbread and pancakes put together.
And then we put jam. We're gonna have
Syrup and another thing
syrup
made by insects.
Honey.
But we're going to have jam. And what's your name?
Jordan.
Jordan, can you go to the container that's on the table that has a big wooden lid on it? Give everybody a napkin, please.
We'll have 2 lunches today. This is number 1.
You can tell they're used to eating at 11 o'clock.
Yes, I do. Well, let's start with these. So take your place at the table. Now, where you were sitting, or where you were standing when we were making the corn cakes, that's where I'd like to see you again.
Over here. Thank you. Thank you. Smells like pancake. Oh yeah, it does. It does. Just maybe the jam. Pancakes, only with the different things. Jam. There's there. Except not with syrup, but with jelly.
It's not in my
Jelly
it's not in my book.
The syrup tastes like jam.
Oh, that's better.
Thank you for the jam. Thank you for the jam. Thank you. What am I doing? There. Yeah, we should spread the jam. Did we spread the word? No, I'm a good cook. No, I did all work. We all did work.
Now, did they have matches in 1836?
No.
They did. But they weren't the matches that we know today. They're not safety matches, which means they could rub together, they could rub against something and catch on fire and almost burn. You could have tow. Has anyone ever heard of linen tablecloths and napkins? Well, that's made from a flax plant, and that's part of it. And it's almost like the corn silk from a corn husk.
I'll show you how to start a fire with flint and steel when we do survival.
A single officer, which meant that he didn't have a family, didn't have a wife or children. So he would have a bedroom, an office, that was his desk, and a place to sit, all in one. Now, what is over the bed? Well, it's netting, and what is it for?
Keep bugs out.
To keep the bugs off. I'm just going to get right over here.
There's a hole in it.
There is not. You'd have to repair that, or it's not going to do you any good. An enlisted man. That means the First Sargent and the men who are going to be building the roads and patrolling.
Excuse me.
They only get to sleep on a straw mattress, but if you're an officer, you have 2 straw mattresses, so it's quite firm. But for comfort, they have a down-filled mattress, the silky feathers of the goose on top. And of course, you don't want to get into a bed that's lumpy, so you have this to beat out the lumps and you get into a nice bed. Now remember, the outhouse, who can describe to me, or where that is, what it is?
It's where you go to the bed.
And it's not in the house. So
It's inside.
Right. So in the middle of the night, if you have to go to the washroom, would you get dressed and put on your coat and boots?
No, you just pee in like a cup or something.
Well, they have something called a chamber pot. So this is where, if you had to go to the washroom in the middle of the night, it's here for you. And you cover it up, you put it under the bed so it doesn't tip, and then in the morning, then what? You have to empty it, and then you have to clean it, get it ready for the next night. Here's the bath. We have a dry sink, like the one in the kitchen. Then you could brush your teeth. There's tooth powder that they would use, not toothpaste, and this is for the gentlemen. They dip that in the water, they brush it over a bar of soap, and they have a nice lather, and they shave. Let's go into the other kitchen. Hello, they make candles with, and the mice are coming in now to buildings to stay warm. They're going to get whatever food that they can. And they like to eat the tallow candles for food. And so they need candle safes to protect the candles.
What are we going to do?
This, I have a bake oven here inside of my modern oven, or modern stove, I should say, but this is also a bake oven. And these wouldn't be here. So you build a fire, you'd make sure that the bricks were nice and white hot, and you scrape the ashes into this hole, and it comes safely out into the hearth, the fire here, and you have this door to lock it. You close it up, I should say. And you can make your cakes and breads.
Okay, back again. We're all done with our tour of Heritage Hill, where we enjoyed a wonderful morning with lots of new interesting learning opportunities for our students. We've gathered for lunch here at the Green Bay Wildlife Sanctuary. The kids enjoyed a hearty lunch, and now we're out and about and participating in some of the displays that the sanctuary offers the students here. I have with me 3 young gentlemen. This is Bryson. What was your favorite part of the morning so far?
I think it was the lunch, and then we went on the slide. That was fun.
The kids really did enjoy the lunch. They were pretty hungry by the time we got here. And this is Danny. What was your favorite part of the day so far?
The slide.
The slide. Well, they all seem to be enjoying the slide. I think that's because it's more of a hands-on learning opportunity here for the students. Well, we're about to go outside and enjoy some of the wildlife here at the Green Bay Sanctuary. We see some squirrels that are roaming around outside on the feeders, and we're going to go and enjoy some of the wildlife. So, talk to you later. Bye. Well, we're back here. We're at the Green Bay Wildlife Sanctuary right now. We've just finished our tour of Green Bay's Heritage Hill Park, where we enjoyed a wonderful morning with lots of hands-on activities for our students to do. We enjoyed a nutritious lunch, and now we're going to spend some time here just touring all of the exhibits that the sanctuary has to offer to our students. Before we move on, though, I'd like to interview a few of our students from this morning and find out what their favorite parts so far of our day's activities were, probably centering on Heritage Hill. This is Karina, and I want to know from Karina, what has been your favorite part so far?
Well, I liked watching the birds and animals inside the building and going down the slide especially.
Going down the slide. So your favorite part has been here at the sanctuary?
Yeah.
Okay. What about Heritage Hill? This is Courtney. And Courtney, I'd like to know from you, what was your favorite part of Heritage Hill this morning?
I think I liked the schoolhouse better than the others because you got to actually see what it was like to be in school.
What was the year when we were in that schoolhouse? Do you remember, Courtney?
1830.
1836. Very good memory. How is that schoolhouse different than the one you're accustomed to at Sevastopol?
Well, there aren't as much animals in it like Mr. Madden's.
Okay.
So
Mr. Madden's classroom has more animals than the one this morning?
Yeah. They have boards, and we mostly write in books and paper.
What about the teacher? Was the teacher different than you're used to, or is that pretty much the way Mrs. Marshall and Mr. Madden act?
It's not the way you guys act. It's kind of different because they use a stick and whack it on the desk to get attention. Oh. Yeah, and you guys don't do that.
No. Who's more fun?
You and Mr. Matt.
Oh, good. Thanks. That's good to hear. And this is Carly. Carly is our new student this year. She comes to us from Chicago. So this, I bet, is the first time you were at Heritage Hill? And the first time you're here at the Green Bay Wildlife Sanctuary. Carly, thinking back to Heritage Hill, what was your favorite part of the morning?
I'd have to say the hospital. It was pretty cool.
What was cool about the hospital? I was a little frightened at the hospital.
Well, it was that brain skull thing where they they stuck a needle. Well, they had that drill, and then they stuck it in your head, and then they drilled a hole in the skull.
Why would they drill a hole in your skull?
Because, like, if they have, like, headaches or something.
And what happens to you when you have a headache at home?
I get, like, ibuprofen and all that.
Which would you prefer, the drill or the ibuprofen?
Ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen. I think we all would. Okay, we want to interview and just ask Maria a little bit what her favorite part of the field trip has been so far today.
Well, so far I like everything. I'm so happy.
She's a great chaperone to have on a field trip. Well, we're going to proceed and look for some of the animal exhibits and learn a few new things about what the sanctuary has to offer us here. So stay tuned. We'll be back soon.
Now.
Okay, girls, we're looking through the glass right here. Can you tell us what you're seeing?
A bobcat.
And what is the bobcat doing?
It's just panting around and stuff, like wondering what's going on.
Do you think it's a little bit curious?
Yeah. I wonder if it just got here. Maybe.
Why would you think that it just got here?
Well, before on that side we couldn't see it, and now it's just like looking through and all that other stuff. He's kind of puzzled.
What might be puzzling him?
That he's in a cage. The fence and we're here. He's just not used to him.
Okay. Look up on the cliff. What do you see up there?
I see another one. Aw, he's laying down. Looks like my grandma's cat, right?
That one looks a little relaxed, doesn't he?
Yeah.
They mainly eat rabbits and snowshoe hare. They used to be trapped a lot in this area, but there's not many left. And people who go to trap them get a permit once every 2 or 3 years
What's the permit?
to catch one and take its pelt.
Do cats land on their feet, these cats?
When it's too cold, where the cats go?
They stay here all winter.
It's cool.
Here.
This is a cougar or mountain lion, it's called in some areas. They have been spotted in Door County. If you see a really big cat like this, that the tail is as long as the body, you might have seen a cougar. They're very rare though. They're more found in the western part or the mountain parts of the United States. These are eastern timber wolves. They can get to be over 100, 150 pounds, and they're a creature that likes to be in packs. They're on the increase in Wisconsin. We have several different packs in Wisconsin from having none just 10 or 15 years ago. Okay. Summer? Come down by Mrs. Marshall, okay? You're on.
Hi, Summer. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're seeing right now here at this exhibit?
Sure. We're seeing some deers in their habitat, and there are little machines where you can get food for them, and the kids really enjoy feeding the deer right now.
Is it normal for a deer to come so close to you?
No, it's not really normal, but right here I'm pretty sure that they're used to people coming up to them right now.
What do we call that when they get used to seeing humans? They're not wild anymore, but they're more, it starts with a tame, right. I think the food is probably helping to draw them to this area right here too, don't you?
Yes, I do think so.
Did you have an opportunity to lick the deer or to pet the deer?
Yes, we did, and the deer likes licking people.
Why do you suppose that is?
Probably to make sure that they don't have any leftover food on their hands.
Why would the deer be licking your hand? What do you see after?
I'm not really sure. Probably just food, I'm pretty sure, but I'm not positive.
Do you know what the deer is after when he's licking your hand, Yather?
Milk.
Milk? Would he get milk from your hand?
No.
So what would he be after?
Food.
Do you know?
What?
Why do the deer like to lick hands?
Because there's food crumbs on them.
Could be food crumbs. When your body perspires, you lose and salt, right? So the deer is licking the salt off of your hands. Well, our day is ending in Green Bay. It's a day spent with a lot of fourth grade students from Sevastopol School, quite a few chaperones we had along today, and Mr. Madden and myself would like to thank you for coming along on this little visit with us to Heritage Hill and to the Green Bay Wildlife Sanctuary. We hope you learned a little bit more about life in Wisconsin in the 1830s and about what Green Bay has to offer as far as animal exhibits for students and children. Mike, would you like to add anything?
Yes, the Bay Beach Wildlife Sanctuary here charges us nothing to use their facilities. It's open to the public. Kathy and I will build on what we've learned today all year long for the rest of the year. It was a great group of children and 10 chaperones.
And I guess that's our signal. It's time to go. Thank you again. Bye-bye.